One of the most common maintenance and regular items you'll encounter on doing an inspection and periodic maintenance to a treadmill regards the tread belt, the walk belt. There's a constant adjustment of the belt that's required. That's done by the rear roller. As the belt is moving, there's two bolts back here that you can adjust with an Allen wrench that's going to move the rear roller in or out. You'll adjust it according to which way you want the belt to move. In our case here, our belt is shifted just a little bit to the left. It's got less gap here than this side. What I'm going to do is get my Allen wrench, and then we turn the unit on to about 3 miles an hour. The Allen wrench goes on into the rear roller, whichever side you want to work from. We recommend turning quarter turns at a time, and you can see the belt move. You want to get it into a true center location, make sure it maintains that. Minor adjustments if needed. You want to be careful that you don't over adjust, causing the belt to shift completely to one side or the other where it starts rubbing on the edge. If that happens, you need to have the unit turned off, loosen the belt enough where you can slide it over by hand and then turn it back on and make the adjustments that way. One of the regular maintenance items on a treadmill is keeping the deck lubricated. If it gets dry, it'll cause friction. Friction will cause it to work too hard. It'll cause damage to the motor when it overheats because it's turning too hard. It'll cause the deck, top of the deck and the underside of the belt to become worn, and then it's going to make it replaced later. How often you lubricate a deck is really based on the user. We recommend 3 to 4 times a year for the basic user, but if you have someone who's a heavy user daily, then they can do monthly to make that work. Several different ways to lubricate a belt. There's lots of applicators and various things to help you get underneath the walk belt. One of the easiest ways is just carrying the silicone lubricant with you. We recommend silicone oil. The belt itself, when it has the right tension, should be about enough to let a flat hand underneath there. What we're going to do is we're just going to put an amount of fluid on each side of the walk belt, about where the foot pad falls. We're going to put just a small amount of oil there on each side. And then I'm going to turn the deck on and let it self-lubricate. It'll take just a minute or two to spread that lubricant around. If this is done regularly, it will tremendously increase the life of the treadmill. The last item that needs to be maintained once periodically on a treadmill is the drive belt. That's a belt between the front roller and the motor. It's rubber and it will stretch over time. Right now it should have just a little bit of a tension. There's a couple ways you can test this. One is about a 45-degree bend in the belt. Another is about a width of a couple nickels pushing. If you get too much slack in there, you're going to start having some slipping in the belt. What that means is if you have a customer who's using the belt and as they take a step with their foot, it slips, fails to catch, that's usually the sign that the belt to the motor, the front roller to the motor is not tight. And what's going to happen is as I take my feet steps, the belt itself will slip. This is usually a sign that the drive belt has worn in this area. It can also be a sign though that the pulley on the front roller has come loose from the front roller. Best way to diagnose this is take the hood off, get on the unit yourself, take your steps, and see if you can see which part of the treadmill is losing connection. If there's good tension between the rollers, it's probably going to be between the pulley and the front roller. More than likely though, it's going to be that drive belt. You can tension the motor by loosening the tension bolt, shifting the motor back just a little bit to provide more tension on that drive belt. Eventually though, that drive belt will need to be replaced as it is a rubber part and it is not meant for everlasting use. It needs to be maintained depending on how often the unit is used.